All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Manager Calls. Again, with an amazing AMA coming up here. Today we have Strike Protocol. Joining us from their end, we have Tim, we have Boka, and we have Ivan. Hello, guys.
Hi, hi.
Hello, hello.
Hey,
What's
thank you for
up?
having us, sir.
Yeah, no worries. I'm very excited about this one. And like always, I have prepared a shitload of questions.
Good.
That's fine.
So let's see how it goes. Um, Everyone listening in also, wow, over 200 people already. Welcome to this AMA. Guys, can you, the speakers here, briefly introduce yourself and share what roles you play in the development of Strike Protocol? And also, I'm always curious, how the hell did you end up in crypto?
Nice. For me, it's very easy. It's all Boca's fault. So that's the reason how I got into
Yeah,
crypto.
guilty.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about 4 years ago, I emigrated from the Netherlands to Croatia and met another guy that was just actually in Croatia recently through a Facebook page of all places when we were, as you do when you come to a new country, looking for a couple of friends to hang out with, have a couple of drinks, and that's, long story short, how we met each other.
Good.
So
Yeah.
my role within the team is I'm the CEO of Kupi. We are doing the Web3 integration for GD Entertainment. Ivan is from GD Entertainment, and Boca is from Kupi.
Yeah, hello. My name is Ivan. I'm from GD Entertainment, as Tim said. I'm the lead game designer, and I kind of discovered crypto about 7 years ago, but the NFT part and all of this is also Boca's fault again.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going to talk. Great intro to me. So everything's my fault. We'll start there. um, I uh, I got into crypto like 3 years ago. One of my best friends when I moved here is actually one of the guys that founded Unicrypt, now UNCX Network, and he
Oh.
actually convinced me to enter the space. I was with him for a while as a dev and a CTO for a bit. Now I'm with Koopy and these guys. As for Tim, when you meet a guy like Tim and he's not doing what you're doing, you need to convince him to do what you do so you can do that with him. I think that's the simplest way that I can put this without going on for half an hour. Yeah, I had to have him in any capacity working with me. So I got him interested in crypto, and yeah, he can blame me all he wants. That's very fair.
He does. He does.
Yeah.
Love it, guys.
Yeah.
Then you, of course, know what you're doing. You've been around for a while, and I love that. So diving into the beginnings, then, I want to know what inspired the creation of Strike Protocol, of course, and what gap in the blockchain gaming market you aiming to fill. So maybe you can also walk us through the early stages of Strike Protocol's development, and if there's any milestones also that have been pivotal to your growth, I guess.
Well, our development was a bit tricky in the beginning because we wanted to do everything in-house. So we decided
Hmm.
to go to this game after quite a lot of research. And then we wanted to do everything in-house, not use anything from the outside, so we know the code, so we know what we're doing, and so we know how to fix stuff faster, and to
Yes.
get better integration and increase security. Now, the milestone for us now currently are getting the first alpha out, closed one,
Hmm.
testing a little bit more, upgrading the visuals, and making the gameplay a bit better. And then after that, of course, we have the new Web4 Strike protocol coming as well. More signups for the beta testers, doing a few closed betas to find player feedback, improve the game as much as possible, and then we are going to launch. In between, we are also going to have token implementation, which is going to be also rigorously tested. That's a bit of Boca's stuff side, so I'm going to let him talk about that one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So what was that you wanted me to get into there, Ivan? You wanted me to talk about the
token.
The token itself. I mean, I'm a dev, so I'm always going to be a bit more devy, basic ERC20 token with a 5.5 tax structure,
Yeah,
built
and
in.
before we go into the token, guys,
Yeah.
we'll come to that, of course. But
Perfect.
your core vision that drives your team, how does this vision kind of differentiate the game from others? That's more interesting stuff.
Okay, so we wanted to create a game mostly for players, but also in kind of to have a symbiotic relationship between the players and the investors, because we are entering an NFT and crypto market. So the vision was quite simple. We saw a lot of multiplayer games, NFT games, which usually failed, mostly because there were not enough players. Now, multiplayer games have a problem. If you don't have enough players, you find enemies. So the players are both playing and they're also providing content. We wanted to keep that part so the players provide content, but what we wanted to do is for them not to wait in queues so they can play whenever. So we decided to kind of combine a sim and a dungeon crawling system together. So a sim system where they build bases and they can do that whenever, and a dungeon crawling or base crawling or raiding in our case. So the infiltrator role, which allows players to actively try to beat bases for rewards. In this way, we are trying to cut down on any wait time for games, and still allowing players to kind of have a feel that they're playing a multiplayer game. And we saw that we could upgrade that in future for in multiple directions depending how our community reacts and what they suggest as well. We come from a gaming sphere, so we know that player feedback is quite important, and we want to keep them happy in that sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that touches on the core gameplay mechanisms also. Any more in depth on that?
Well, can you please elaborate the question a little bit more?
If we go into the game mechanics and design, what would you say then are the core gameplay mechanics?
Okay. Well, we want to focus on, as I said, building and crawling. So when you think about it, it's in an action-based game in one sense and a sim builder in the other. The items that we needed for NFT side and the crypto side, we wanted to make them, you have items in most games that you can't use. So we wanted to kind of make people always be able to use even the bad items that they find. So it's like a collection building, action-based and sim. That would be the basic structure of everything. The merge system inside, which is also one of the core mechanics, allows the players to always use, the trash items or whatever, to increase, to make new items that are better and better and better. So it always gives them value whenever they find something that maybe at that moment they don't need, but they can always use in combination with something else to get something better.
Nice. I also see that you have kind of a infiltrator and commander shape. How does this role kind of shape the player experience?
Which one, the commander or the infiltrator?
Both.
Okay, so players can play either or both. one will allow them to build their base, create puzzles for other players to solve. When they finally publish the base, other players will find it and try to finish it. If they don't finish it, those creators of those bases will get rewarded. On the other side, the infiltrator role is simpler. You look at the bases that you can raid, pick one, go in. If you finish it, you get a reward. If you don't, the player who created the base gets the reward. It's a very straightforward way of playing, and should be fun, because some bases, of course, are going to be more difficult for you depending on how you, well, build them against how you build your infiltrator. So if you build them a little bit more tanky, any base with more traps of certain value will be much easier for you. But the bases that have higher damage output will still kind of be hard. So depending on different play styles that people slowly develop, we will of course change some things and balance out the things. That's why we need testing. But yeah, that's mainly the main thing.
Nice. Guys, I think that is very exciting, and also maybe you can elaborate on the item merging process and that impact on gameplay strategy.
Yes, what we realized when we did our initial research, we saw that a lot of games that have NFT items, the market overflows with the NFT items that nobody uses, and so on and so on.
Yes.
We wanted to make players always able to use the items they find, even if they don't need them, but they can use them for something. So we decided to go through a DNA system similar to what Exceed Infinity has, but a little bit more complex. The two items that can be combined will have certain genes, which then will produce, once they're combined, a new weapon that's probably going to be more powerful. Now, how exactly the system works is something I don't want to go into right now, but I can tell you that in certain cases, when people combine items, there are chances that certain mutation will happen, and those items will grow in power quite a lot. So sometimes when you get lucky, or when you know a bit more about theory crafting and game mechanics of the items, you might actually combine some items faster to get more epic ones. Now those items while in the game, completely in game, will not actually waste any gas fee. That was quite important as well. But when they're pulled to your wallet, so to the chain, then they will be NFTs and can be traded and so on.
Okay, nice. What is the DNA system then for crafting items, and how does it work?
You are fishing here. Okay.
I am.
Okay, so each item has primary, secondary, and tertiary genes. When they are combined, certain genes are rolled into the pool, and the new item then draws certain genes to be their genes. Also, it's gonna get the same, not the same items as the parents, but a different set, and those stats will have certain values. Combining two items of a similar value will almost certainly give you an item of a higher value, so a better one. You can combine all the weapons or all the outfits or all the bots or all the traps, but you cannot combine weapons and traps. So there are certain limitations in merging. I'm not going to go into mutations, although I think you're going to fish about that as well. But I'm just going to say it's going to happen. It's not very common, but when it happens, the item will grow in strength quite a lot, and some will even have special abilities.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds amazing, guys. I think we're onto something here. If we look into your play to earn model and economy, that of course are also very interesting. How you kind of would say you integrate the play to earn into your gameplay.
Yeah, most of the games in the NFT market kind of we're going for free to play to earn. So if you spend quite a lot of time in the game and grind items and are a bit lucky and know how to merge and stuff like that, you will be able to, well, get items that are worth something if somebody wants to buy them, of course, from just gameplay. We wanted to reward those people who actually are, enjoying the game. Maybe they'll use them, maybe they'll sell them. It's fine, either way. But we wanted to give players an ability to do that. So merging itself, I think, will be quite a lot of fun, especially because it requires people to do some theory crafting as well. So I'm hoping that to hear some crazy things from the player community come out. So yeah.
Okay. But then what steps have you taken also to ensure that you have a balanced in-game economy?
Well, as players actually spend the token for certain things in the game, such as the game store, such as the small fee for merging items, and as they do dailies and they do weeklies, they also gain some of that token back and so on. But a certain amount of token that they spend is always going to be returned to the player reward pool. At the beginning, we're going to fill the pool, and then we're hoping to get a nice little balance for the pool to kind of fill itself up from players while playing and spending and doing stuff. And then we're just going to give them back those tokens through, again, quests or challenges or maybe some kind of other means. That's the in-game mechanics. So the players would kind of it would be circular mostly, and it would also feed from the outside sources that the token produces, so some tags and so on. We want to reward players that are constantly playing, and at the same time, those players are getting certain value to the investors and the speculators.
Awesome. I'm thinking also, how are daily missions structured, and what rewards do they offer?
Well, we're still working on them and we're still balancing them out, but mostly it's going to be a certain amount of bases beaten, a certain amount of bots or things destroyed, or publishing certain bases that look in a certain way, or have a lot of fire damage, and so on and so on. We're still in testing. We'll see which ones work better, which have a higher success rate for players to finish, and lower, and then we're going to balance the rewards by that.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So also, I guess that listeners here are interested in what ways that players can earn and spend the in-game currency of yours.
Well, as they are doing quests and certain daily missions, they will get a certain amount of points, which then from the reward pool we will separate each day a certain amount, which is going to be the same for first year, I think. And each player who actually successfully finished, let's say 10 games, and won all 10 games is going to get a certain amount of points. At the end of the 24-hour period, those points are going to be summed up. The pool of tokens is going to be divided by them, and each player is going to get the amount of points, but in tokens, so a counter value. That's a quick calculation there. So if you're very good and you win all 10, well, good for you. If you lose 4, win 6, well, you're going to get a bit less. But yeah, and also the value of the player, so the level of the player and the level of the bases he finishes in that 10 games is going to also matter. The higher the value, the more points, therefore more tokens in the end.
All right. I like that. There's a lot of stuff to actually get my head around here.
Don't worry,
Also,
this is also going to be explained a little bit more on our next web page. There's going to be how merging works a little bit more in detail and so on.
Nice. I appreciate that. And I guess also the others will love to get that info. Moving on then, with the blockchain and Web3 integration, um, your thoughts on how you will utilize blockchain technology to kind of enhance the gaming experience.
I'm sorry. Are you guys? Is this one for me?
I can say in game what we are hoping to do, and that's usually to make the token have
Yeah.
a certain utility in the game, of course. And for the NFT side, we wanted to use the blockchain technology to give players a collection of NFTs that they can, gather. I am an old Magic the Gathering player, and I remember how I gathered those cards and had my albums. And I think this technology actually allows that for players for their game that they like.
Yeah, maybe you can detail then on the NFT ecosystem of yours.
Okay, I can give a little detail here if you want, Ivan.
Sure.
Okay.
Hmm. Well, the NFT system, from an on-chain perspective, uh, so the main comment I have on the setup is usually the main question we usually get actually is why Ethereum, right? Because Ethereum is very gas heavy and so forth. So the current NFT system that we actually have in place is the idea that most items within the game are NFTs, but are not actually going to be on chain. So the idea with that is that um, we're going to have it so players can, when they want to like bring in the NFT aspect into the game, they can withdraw the item from the game and then create it as an NFT and go from there. So most of the time, they're actually not going to be signing, transactions as they play, which is a very big plus that we were kind of aiming for from the beginning. I don't know if we should touch on that whole thing yet, or if you have like a list of questions to get to that stuff.
No, it's fine. If you want to go into details, you can, but we have enough questions to cover the
Yeah,
NFT.
that's why I'm asking. I can talk forever if you let me.
But if
So,
you want to, you can get into the tokenomics now behind the Strike protocol, of course.
ooh, okay. Tokenomics, I'm actually going to handle the Tim while I'm focusing more on the tech heavy side.
All right.
All right. By the way, I just sent you a couple of video previews that were available for the YouTuber to make the pre-sales video. If you could share those with the community, I think the first one was already shared. That's a
I've
tester
shared the
level with a
others
lot of.
as well.
Super, super. So one of them is a tester video with a couple of bots, how you'd handle a room with a few of them in it. The other one is a video of a basic builder of how you would go about building your base. Next one is just to show a bit of the avatar selection screen. And the last one, I think you guys actually just covered that, was a bit about how combined merging the outfits were. I'm sure Ivan can tell you more about that than me. Tokenomics, right. Hang on, just let me pick that one up because I'm still in Adobe Premiere right now. So I can go over the exact figure. Yeah. Here we go. I'll just pop open also the screen that we had for Gempad because that's just easiest. It's got a nice graphical interface. I'll see if I can get that picture for you as well. So we had a pre-sale which was 50 ETH, and we had we had a seed sale which was 50 ETH, and we had a pre-sale on Gempad which was 100 ETH. Let's see. Let me just pick it up. Where is that? Here we go. Tokenomics. Got it. And I will just share this screen grab for a second, which makes it easier for everyone to follow along as well. There we go. And oh dear, I'll have to send it to you. If you could forward that one in, that's then everyone sees the same details as what I'm talking about. It's perhaps a bit easier graphically. So pre-sale rate was 3 million. Maximum contribution was 1 ETH. We had a question on that a couple of times. There was a minimum buy of 0.05, a maximum buy of 1. And there were a couple of people who asked, I thought the minimum was 0.5. There was a minimum from 0.5 ETH on the bonus. So Gempad alpha users could get a 6% bonus on their tokens if they were within the first 100 buys and spent a minimum of 0.5, which is great because then we could reward the alpha community of Gempad, and that made sure that the sale went completely through in 1 hour and 10 minutes, which even was a bit faster than we'd expected to do, so that was great. Luck tokens are 20% and 10%, so those are team and ecosystem tokens, which have been locked on 2 weeks and are extended each time with 1 week until the point where the integration can be made and the ecosystem can be put into place. Ivan or Boca can tell you a bit more about that planning-wise, probably. There is obviously an unlocked part. This is also part of the seed. The seed was not vested because we have a lot of financial backing who know long-term plans that have been made. So we were not worried about that in any single way or form. Liquidity was initially locked for 6 months, and we very rapidly extended that liquidity lock with another 6 months, and so that's completely locked up for a year.
Awesome. Then, of course, we're talking about security. And yeah, you have security measures in place there to protect digital assets and the chart, of course. Maybe you can describe also the technical infrastructure of the project, if you can. What programming languages and frameworks are used here in the development?
Okay, that's Boca. Boca, could you pick that one up, please?
Yeah, I was thinking if you're asking the game studio or me, that's what I was wondering right now. Or like the crypto side of it.
I think we've touched on the crypto side, on the tokenomics.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So game studio. Ivan.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. So the game is currently being developed in Unity. Unfortunately, I'm not a coder or programmer, so I can't really go much into detail about that, unfortunately.
No worries. Why did you choose Unity and not Unreal Engine 5?
Well, we do work also in Unreal Engine, but we chose Unity because we want to go for the mobile market as well. Now the mobile, Unity seemed like a more logical choice. This I know. As I said, I'm not a programmer, so yeah. It seems that it's much more compatible with also mobile devices, while Unreal is usually created for AA games for mostly PC and console. So yeah, that's why Unity was chosen.
All right. Good stuff. If we look into the user experience then and accessibility, how do you plan to attract non-crypto-soy gamers to this one? Because that is difficult.
Yeah, to a degree, yes. To a degree, no. So
I can give a little insight on this, if you don't mind. I happen to be a massive gamer, as well as Yvonne. Tim is a massive Ticket to Ride on Steam type gamer. so he has his niche, you know. One of the biggest things, because I was talking to Yvonne before this project began. I've known him for a while, and we chatted about like stuff like this. The biggest gateway and issue with onboarding people into a lot of these crypto games is, well, the crypto side itself. Because for a normal crypto guy like us, having a wallet and moving funds onto this chain so that you can have tokens to put into this ecosystem, that's like pretty standard day-to-day stuff. But for most people that especially aren't very crypto savvy, especially like a lot of my friends I know who just say they have a Coinbase, does that count? And I'm like, okay, well, technically, they'll have no idea how to enter this stuff. So one of the things that we started talking about early on was the idea that there should be no gatekeeping when a user starts the game, in the sense that there will not ask for a wallet, it will not require funds in said wallet or anything like that. It'll be like a normal gaming experience where you start the game and you're in and you're playing, and then from there we will, not very pushy sense, kind of suggest the idea that this is also a crypto game and there are ways to earn and so forth. I don't want to get too into those specifics. I don't know how much we're allowed to say in terms of that part right now. But the basic idea was that we want it to be as easy to onboard for a normal gamer as it is for a crypto gamer. I think that's a very important distinction we have with our game and pretty much all the other stuff on the market.
What strategies do you have in place to also ensure that you get a seamless user experience for gamers?
Ivan, I'll let you take this.
Seamless. Well, the game is going to come out on multiple platforms, and people can play it without actually connecting any kind of a wallet at the beginning. So once they
That's
do
seamless.
decide, that's seamless. Yeah, that's quite seamless. And then if they do decide to connect a wallet, then the game changes. But well, it doesn't change really as a game. It only changes one of its functionalities. So, you can now use the token differently and stuff like that. You can also get it, you can also grind it, and so on and so on.
Exactly. Of course, talking about this with the user experience, how do you take community feedback and in terms of influencing the development?
Well, we are going to create a forum. We'll go let people discuss, of course. In testing, we'll go through all the bugs, of course, because bugs unfortunately happen. All the feedback that people think we should do. I've all been starting to write a few good ideas that I heard from the community in our channel. And then as we go forth and start upgrading certain aspects of the game, we'll of course choose whatever most of the community thinks is wise, but also we're going to choose very carefully because we know what the game can and can't do, so we will always take the community's opinion in consideration, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be 100% right. Maybe some ideas are great, but they need to be a little bit tweaked to work. So yeah.
We get that. And are there any plans maybe then also for like governance, autonomous organization like a DAO within the game?
Well, as I understand Boca, we do have that ability, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a cool thing
possibly
to have.
Yeah, I think one of the things is even now we're opening up to alpha testing to some users right now, and we're listening to the community feedback as soon as I think tomorrow. So that's going to have a huge impact on what we're doing. Yeah.
But then, of course, I'm curious again. What insights have you gained from the alpha and beta testing?
The alpha testing starts, it's going to be announced after this AMA. So we have 5 first alpha testers that are coming out from within the community, and they are going to be onboarded this evening. I've quickly spoken with 3 of them already to prep and prepare a few things. And then they will be given the file they need to access the PC version, because it's the PC alpha that goes first. Second will be Android. Third will be Apple.
That's like a public alpha, right? So what have you gained from the back-end alpha and beta testing?
That's okay. The internal one. That's one for Even.
Okay, so what the internal R testing showed, you think that's what the question was? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, we tried to make the combat as good as possible. We're still working on that. What internal tests usually were for removing bugs, finding what can be exploited, if something can be exploited, and trying to, of course, minimize those things. But when you're testing internally and when you know the game, it's not the same as blind testing with people who never played it, right? I come from a board game design initially, so what we do there, usually you create the game, you play it with your friends, that's fine, that's so perfect. Then you write out the rules and give somebody the game and just go away. And then they have to find out how to play the game just from the rules and then give you feedback. So you're testing the rules and you're also testing the game. If you're there, you're kind of messing with the results, right? So internal testing, when people are working also on the game and know the game, is never going to be as good and productive as, of course, it's going to be productive for bugs and stuff like that. That's normal. But for feedback and for some suggestions and something like that, new eyes give new opinions.
Absolutely. I totally agree on that. Yeah, what would you say then was the biggest technical challenge you faced during internal development? How did you overcome that?
Oh, the biggest challenge. I'll have to think about that. I think the biggest challenge was merging at the beginning, because it's mathematically quite complex and it took some time to get it right. The amount of combinations, the amount of items that can drop, how to create those items from a limited amount of 3D models, so they all look different, how to show those items that they're higher value than the others, so players will actually recognize them as soon as they see them without, there were a lot of challenges, but yeah, those are pretty 100% done. Of course, we are going to improve the visuals, improve things that come a bit later, because, at the beginning you usually just focus on the game working, and then you start making it prettier and prettier and prettier, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Good respond there. I like devs that know their shit, so you clearly do. If we look into future plans and updates, how will you handle updates and do new content releases from now on?
As we go into bigger updates, we are going to do them regular gaming style, right? So we are going to first internally test each update before we release it out. We're going to make a small beta test, or maybe 2. Then we're going to merge that to see if that actually works and test it one more time, and then it's going to go live. You always have to have a backup plan. If something does fail in the end, you just roll back and then start panicking and working to fix whatever went wrong.
Thank God for real devs that's saying that. I love that, because yeah, there will be sweat and tears, but Also progress and lessons
Bugs
learned.
happens.
Bugs really happens. Yeah, I'm a business unit manager in IT, and I work more with low code, but still we do have bugs and everything in our flows and shit. So shit happens, but we learn. That's the most important stuff. Yeah. Since we're in AMA here, to make it a little bit exciting, would you say there's any future developments or features that you can share with us now?
Oh, uh, future development that I could share with you. Well, we're thinking very strongly about what our community expects, and that's chat and maybe even team play. We're still looking into it, and it's not going to be done now, but we are seriously considering that to be one of the future ones.
All right. Thank you for that. What would you say are the long-term plans now for expanding your game universe?
The long-term plans would, as the player base grows and as players, of course, give feedback, we are also going to reward certain players that are excellent at the game by maybe allowing them to create special dungeons for special, well, quests or achievements. We're going to maybe even do some tournaments or challenges, certain puzzles that players, if they solve in a certain time, they will get more rewards. And then as we go forth, we, as I said, might go for teaming up and, yeah, doing even stronger and bigger things.
Awesome. Yeah. Performance and tracking, guys. What key performance indicators should we, as investors, look at post-launch?
Tim, I think I can pass this to you.
Yeah. Could you repeat the question, please?
I was asking what key performance indicators, KPIs, we should, as investors, look for at post-launch.
Yeah, correct. So the KPIs we have is to make sure that we have a 12-week rollout plan, which includes all the alphas and betas rollout. There is some layer in there as well, obviously stress testing the servers, communication ramp up, marketing ramp up, and the end goal from a marketing standpoint is to make sure that in month 3 we are on a handover, so that our end of marketing is more towards mainstream media, and from that point onwards we have the player onboarding marketing, which is going to be handled by Hotkey. So our responsibility is to carry it through the first 12 weeks. And obviously there are some goals that we have on chart, on volume, but generally speaking, it's stack on stack on stack on stack to make sure that, you know, token is released into the market, it has a community, the community is being built up, the reviews come in, which will start after the first 5 players go in today, at which point we have a few YouTubers that will be making actual gamer reviews. So these are the guys who know how to convey, let's say, the more aesthetic side of things so that the visuals come over for the public. Then although that is still very much still on investor side because it's growing up towards player marketing, it at least shows the look and the feel of it. Couple more AMAs that are going to be done, that we have certain points in time that we bring proper updates and upgrades to keep everyone well informed. And that's part of the schedule that we're rolling out right now. So the checklist is still gigantic, and we're ticking off the boxes surely, but slowly, getting through all of these steps that need to be done to get to the point where we can actually engage and have YouTube coverage on large scale.
Awesome.
The biggest challenge is obviously.
But how can we track the progress and growth of yours?
Well, generally speaking, there's a couple of things obviously that you can follow. We make sure that there's at least a couple of daily communications from the team. We have the studio team that started introducing themselves this week to the public, so that the public is aware, what people are working on it, what the steps are. One of the important steps that we have right now is the switch from graphics. So the alpha is going out. Obviously, the footage that we have right now is being shared. But we did have the graphics lead communicate that the next period for him is the exciting one, because that's when, as a creator of visuals, they now get to swap out, it's placeholders is the wrong word, but to make sure that for each and every element in the game, the final designs are being made. And obviously, the further we go, the more we're going to be showing you like the before movie and the after movie, so that these are really properly tangible for people who are following the project, either because they're interested of the game coming out, or from a financial position to see how their investment is going, whether or not they like what they see.
Sure, exactly. There's a lot of aspects into both the financial investment perspective. And yeah, how does the revenue model ensure then that you are sustainability and returns for people like me and the listeners here?
Yeah, correct. So the revenue model is developed in-house. Boca can tell you more of the technical side of that. That is one of the things that will be properly spec'd and properly indicated when it actually goes live, because these are hard data facts that need to be known for people at that point. In general speaking, I can say about it, it's very simple. When we were looking at the entire model, where staking is still a term in gaming that has not been, that does not have the, let's say, the bad vibe about it. I think the last 2 years of bear definitely made staking a no word amongst investors. I myself have staked multiple times and regretted the decision. So when we looked at the entire economy model that we're doing, it was a very clear choice. We wanted to have a revenue share model, which is basically all the perks you have of staking for a project, but without the huge drawback for investors. And one of the reasons we relatively early shared the flowchart diagrams, which you can find in the light paper, is to make sure that people are aware of the fact how the economy will flow. Because I would say the last 2 years of gaming, there were a lot of gaming projects, gamified projects, play to earn projects, branded as such, a lot of them being, either deliberate Ponzi's or just accidental, because the gameplay of a certain game was absolutely amazing. I mean, I've had an extreme amount of fun in something which reminded me of early Nintendo days brawlers, where you could just roam around, have fun with friends. But the biggest problem there was, player and player retention. And that's also the part that, from my perspective, which is perhaps a more business view on things, that this is built as a game, and the finance side obviously is there, but it's actually utilizing what crypto should be for, in our opinion, which is you gather investors, you make sure that they have all the information, then you keep them updated about all the steps of what you want to do, and that includes this financial model. The revenue share is there. It will be I'm not going to tell you which intervals, but there will be intervals in between steps. People are free to sell or buy in between these steps. It's going to be measured. People that are holding within this period, which usually is quite a large chunk of holders, they don't have to stake. They don't have to take extra risk. They, from being an investor myself, I think if you're investing in something, that's your risk point. And if you're holding it, which is also obviously a clear advantage for a project, then there should be rewards for that. This will come out tiered. And obviously the exact tiers will be publicated before we implement this into the system.
Awesome. I totally follow you on that one. And yeah, if there's staking tools and algorithms in place, it potentially should be a roadmap that kind of rewards and also look for holders to actually hold the token because they see that.
Right.
Yeah, down the line, there's actually some awesome things coming.
Yeah, I think if you look at the revenue share model, obviously it's far more advantageous for you based on the quantity that you're holding. But I also think that if you've asked an initial investor to do a deep investment in it, they at a certain point should also freely be able to move around within it. Now, as long as that's within a certain tier, absolutely zero problem. And this is what I don't like about staking is you lock it up completely and that's it.
Yeah.
In our case, there will be intervals. We're obviously not going to communicate the exact intervals because then you get people who start to, scheme and plan around it to take advantage of your interval points. But it is, 100% each time an interval has passed, then obviously people will have a full, complete overview of when it was made, how it was done, so that they can do their due diligence. Look it up backwards, check, is their share fair or not? That has to be completely transparent. And that's one of the choices that we made because we feel that is what we would want to see. And therefore it's how we are going to implement
it. Nice. Can you explain the flow chart of in-game and out-of-game economics? Or economies.
Yeah, sure. I also think Ivan does a very good explanation on the gaming side, but I'm happy to go over it as well.
Yeah, I can do it, no problem. So the in-game flowchart, which we did a full flowchart and then we just split it into two parts, right? So we want players to if they're playing the game, we will keep a circular economy inside the game, right? So as players spend their tokens to, let's say, merge items, those tokens get into the in-game reward pool. So they are going to be again rewarded for two players when they do certain daily missions or finish certain challenges. As they're also using certain actions which call other actions in the game that cost tokens as well, those tokens will again also be put into the in-game reward pool. So the in-game reward pool should kind of fill itself up. Of course, players will also probably use the game store, maybe buying something and some stuff like that. All of those actions from the players, a certain percentage especially from the game store, is also going to go into the in-game reward pool. The first time we start with the rewards system, we are going to fill the reward pool for players. And then, of course, as players do certain actions and get some certain rewards from the reward pool, they can either spend those rewards or pull them out or do whatever. But the reward pool is going to be in either quarterly or a 6-month period or a year, depending on our tests, right? So the reward pool is going to get filled. Some of the game store purchases are going to also go to the external part. So they're going to go to the revenue pool, which is going to then cover the expenses of future development, and then go into a profit after that, which is going to be split between the reserve and the investors who are currently still holding the token. Now, the reserve pool is going to be here just to stabilize some kind of strange things that might happen with the token or to if we see that we need more for player rewards or special events, we can pull it from there if we don't have enough in the in-game reward pool. It's as you could say, reserved for a rainy day, right? Or if we want to make it sunny a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and for next sunny days and stuff in the future, are there any plans to also introduce cross-chain functionality to the game here? And if so, how do you plan to interoperate, I guess, with different blockchain ecosystems?
Yeah, there are options. Right now we very deliberately made the choice for ETH. I think the best explanation there is that although we are past the bear, in my opinion, it is still very much spring with a lot of rainy days. So right now the choice had to be made. Okay, where are we going to do the launch? Do we go for level 1, level 2? Do we perhaps look at other options as well? And I think in every discussion we had on the topic, it kept coming back to ETH just being the best choice. Now, whether or not that remains the best choice at the end of this year or the beginning of next year is going to be the question, because obviously if we go back to the situation where you are starting to have spikes up to the $300 to $600 for gas, then it's questionable if that is wise at that point. On the other hand, a lot of the mechanics have been brought into in-game, which obviously don't get reflected onto gas fees. So for the, I would say, short to middle prognosis, having everything on ETH is absolutely the way forward, but we do have multiple different scenarios that need to be chosen. But then it comes back to how is the initial feedback? How are things working? How are they responding? How do we implement further, and so on?
Awesome. Thank you for addressing and giving good inputs on that. Yeah, I like it. You guys have given me very, very, very good inputs and answers here today. Maybe we should open up for a couple of community questions as well. I see Nida
Always
is
good.
here. Let's hear it, Nida. My dear friend, you are unmuted. Nida, are you there? If not, I can always try to see if she has written me something, and she has. It's late there in India where she lives. The partnership with Electrocoin for currency bridging raises concern about regulatory compliance and legal frameworks. How do you guys? Yeah, you're there. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Nida.
I was just talking about your
I have a
question
question
there.
regarding player marketing through
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here. I have a question regarding player marketing through partners like Horsey, but how do you guys ensure that its marketing strategy resonates with diverse global audience?
I didn't hear the last part of the sentence, sorry. How do we make sure that Nida, are you still there?
I think she was asking a question regarding your player marketing through partners like Hotkey. How do you ensure that your marketing strategies resonate with diverse global audiences? You have cultural differences, of course, language barriers.
Correct. I just need to find the official supported languages that we start with. I know that we have it here somewhere. Just a second. Because we are starting with 3 languages to start with. I just don't want to say the wrong language. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. Official starting languages are going to be English, German, and French. That's obviously because we know that this would cover a very large part of obviously the United States, but also the EU. Which also coincidentally covers quite a large part of the average crypto market as well. And then the secondary language updates, and this is going to be, you know, throughout menus, structures, and as such, are going to be Portuguese, Spanish. Mandarin is considered. That has a few restrictions though, so it will be part of the process that Hotkey is working on within the the distributor market. There are distributors where it will not be a problem. There are distributors where it will be a problem. So that might have to be an external hot plug for availability that we bring in through a forum or something, or not. So the Asia market is a little bit tricky in terms of, look, we can't provide everything. It's just a question of how do we bring it to market. So that's very,
of course,
very good question. Yeah.
For like her down in India, they are, of course, good in English, so they will get it.
Right.
But if you look into Asian markets, big in mobile gaming, you should definitely look to Vietnam, Philippines, and those kind of areas.
Correct. The tricky part there is that the rollout schedule is very restricted, to say the least. So there are meetings planned for this topic. I will obviously be part of that as well, as we do have a marketing handover point. But I can also say upfront that we made a deliberate choice to hold back on starting language. Now, in terms of technical and in terms of menu and everything, the entire system is prepared to be completely multilingual and multi-supportive. But there is also a question of how do you move forward in terms of, and this question we get like nearly in a daily, sometimes in DMs, sometimes in channel, like, is there a specific China channel? And we could put it up, but because we know that the original target market is not going to be China due to the restrictions that there are, especially around the mobile release, we've chosen to park that a little bit further on the line so that it doesn't complicate the route that we have to the large distributors.
Yeah, and of course, I don't think it's that important for having a community for this and that in Telegram, because they can always plug into Telegram Premium and that will translate. For kind of gaming manuals and introductions and
exactly. But the question was also, it was the same choice we had to make. Like, do we want to code Discord or not, right? Because Discord is super popular amongst gaming, and it's very unpopular amongst investors mainly. So in every project that was looked at and examined, we have the option to mirror. It's a relative easy option to mirror the channel that is currently there for investors mainly right now. But also this is going to be a question mainly in month 3. Do we want to aim Discord at purely a gaming audience? Right now, I would say we're leaning towards that point, but that's simply a choice that will need to be made. And a couple of these questions are left for month 3 because that has a lot to do with the player onboarding.
Yeah. All right. So we have who do we have? Dev Keld, you're up. You're unmuted. He's a legend on Solana. Wow. Let's hear it, DevKelv.
Good. I'm sure Boca will like to talk to him. He's always interested in every different chain.
Yeah. Are you
Yes,
there, DevKelv?
I am interested. You got me there.
Maybe you're struggling with getting on the mic, but he's unmuted, so we'll get back to him. We can take up Benova. Good evening, Benova. You are unmuted, Benova.
Yeah, thank you, manager. How you doing?
Oh, I'm lying here all stretched out after skiing today.
Oh, wow. Okay. Let me just go straight to my question, not to waste any further time. I wanted to know, concerning the game. I wanted to know, during the course of, playing the game, have you considered, game addicts, people who are addicted to, playing, since the game is an interesting, this thing, have you considered people who are addicted to playing and without living and being productive to themselves in a day? I don't know if you get my question.
I'm sorry, if I understand you correctly, have we considered the addiction or addicted to the gaming?
Yeah,
Am I
that's
correct?
game addicts. Yes.
Well, after testing, if we see that people are really getting to that point, we can always do a time limit, right? But I don't think this game should cause addictions. I mean, I don't know, maybe I don't think it will, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, World of Warcraft caused addictions among players, so I guess everything's possible. But no, we wanted to make it fun for the players and interesting for the investors, and yeah.
Addiction can be a good thing as well. I was
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd be happy
very,
if you really enjoyed playing it.
yeah, I
That
was
doesn't sound completely like a
very
bad thing.
addicted. I was very addicted to Angry Birds one time. Fucking hell. And Candy Crush as well.
Oh, Candy Crush.
Yeah, I think when
Well,
it comes down to it, because this will be on mobile just makes it that much more addictive. I know my example, I Slay the Spire for the super nerds out there. I got it on Steam. I played it a bit. It was fun. I put it on my phone. I've logged over 100 hours. That's typically how it works once it hits mobile.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think the game should be fun. I also was addicted to World of Warcraft. At one point, I had over 375 days played on my main, and I played the game for 3 years. So
God
it
damn.
literally means I was at least 8 hours a day in the games. But I was younger and I could handle that pressure. Today, well, after 2 hours of looking at the screen, I have to go rest my eyes and look at something else for like 10 minutes. So it
Yeah,
changes as you age as well.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's one of the good
Absolutely.
things about the game that we have too, because you can be a bit more idle if you want to just build a base, and have that kind of style. And if you want to raid, you don't have to sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to commit an hour truly digging in. You could just be like, hey, I got 5 minutes. You could be on your phone at one point and be like, yeah, I'll just try raiding something for a moment. I think
Yeah,
that helps a lot in this aspect too. It makes it
absolutely.
casual if you want it, serious if you're into it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I can counterattack also Benova on this question because he seems very addicted to my duck races here in the channel, which is also a game.
Good. Yeah, we actually
Yeah.
had questions about we actually had questions about duck racing in our channel, and we were like, you're gonna have to ask the manager on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a couple of ones hereafter.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to add to what was just said is the big benefit this game has versus other games that are being played online, player versus player, is because you have the structure of a one side building a base and the other
Mm,
side attacking a base.
yeah.
There is no time loss. You have an instant connect, right? You connect to the server will give you a couple of options, under your level, above your level, on your level. Rewards will be according as well, from a little bit, on the low end to a little bit on the high end, and those have to be challenging, but the connection is instant. So you don't have the big problem that most crypto games have, that is that you're sometimes sitting anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes before you actually even get a connect on your level, which, if you're a beginner, isn't even that bad. But to get the kind of hook and the addiction and the fun of playing and the challenge in it in there, if that isn't
All
there in
right.
like week 2 or 3 for you, then you're not going to play that game further. But if it is, and if it's constantly there, and you can immediately hop into something extra, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, of course.
Then you get me going again. And thank you, Benova, for asking your questions.
Yeah, so very good question. Thank you very much, Benova.
Yeah, thank
But
you. Thank you.
guys, there you got me going again. Then, of course, I need to ask more questions about the game servers. Can you elaborate on the server technology that you have chosen, and how do you ensure that players experience minimal latency and maximum uptime then?
Yeah, I know Ivan can cover that one.
Not really. I can't actually cover this part because not a programmer, and we have people that are currently not online to ask. So I can't even ask it right now, but I can find an answer for you and
Yes,
DM
finally
you.
a question you can't answer. Woo!
Yes, you did. But I also couldn't answer one more before, but never mind. Yeah, but I can always find out and let you know. That's not a problem.
Absolutely, and of course, with the play to earn model, potentially then attracting a large player base, your service needs to be equipped to handle high traffic volumes. But I guess it's all in cloud, so it's a
Yeah, but
cost question. You can scale
we
up.
will do stress testing to see how much we can handle, and then when we need to kind of enhance that part, right? More servers or more people.
Yeah, and maybe you can plan for servers locations globally to cater a worldwide audience also.
Yeah,
Data
I mean,
centers, cloud.
the big advantage that there is now, if you compare, the step from Web 2 to Web 3, the big difference now obviously is that that wasn't there going Web 1 to Web 2. It was just one big, huge, giant gamble. Now you have all of the larger players that are there. There are comparisons. You could go with multiple different entities as a backend, and obviously all of that scales super well as well across clouds. So
yeah. And for me, working in IT, of course, it's all about data handling as well. So how is player data managed on the servers, and what measures are in place to ensure privacy and compliance with data protection regulations?
I'll have to hand that one over to Ivan. I don't know the answer on that one, sorry.
Well, we are in the European Union, so data protection is quite important, and GDPR is quite important as well. So we're going to take every measure to protect any data players leave. It's just a normal way to do business in Europe, and we're going to do that for anybody else as well, so any part of the world, because we are from a European country, and therefore we are going to follow GDPR rules.
Thank you for that, because I've interviewed a lot of Americans and they don't take it that seriously like we do in the European Union. But great.
Yeah, from that perspective as well, it's that subject is a bit harder to touch on, but it's also one of the reasons why we're so happy at the stage where we are right now, because you very clearly in the mobile market see that Apple and Europe are not the best friends right now. That opens a huge big door for us at the larger distributors, and that's also why I believe the entry into this will, and not only us as a game, but there are going to be a lot of studios looking at it right now, because timing wise it is very comparable for the V1 to V2. We know for a fact that at least one studio has asked us to look into their model as well, which right now from Kupi's side we are not doing, because we've committed to go through all of the entire steps that we have here, and that's a commitment we keep. But we know there's interest, and we know that the market is changing and shifting and looking differently. Now, if you see what the EU did, they very, very clearly gave a mandate on rules that Apple would need to follow, and Apple, as a result, has been not making the best of friends within the industry by simply saying, fine, we'll shut down half of what we're doing and we can't comply. And it's not that they can't comply, they obviously can, but they don't want to, so that's their counter move. So the next 6 to 12 months in that sense is going to be interesting as well. And, we have the huge advantage that I know for a fact that Ivan has done like 2.5 years research on the entire model, looking at every single large and small game that came out to look at where we could have the benefits without the drawbacks. And if there were drawbacks, what were they and how can we balance them? And we've had at least, I think, 20 different meetings in the studio talking with them about, interests from all sides, not only players, but obviously also from investors. And each and every one of them are now being called stakeholders, because everyone is a stakeholder and you should consider everyone. And there's obviously not always going to be a 100% towards one side. It has to be in balance. But yeah, from that point of view, especially mobile market is extremely interesting.
It damn sure is.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we have covered a lot. We've been here like 1 hour and 20. So yeah, I have gotten my answers. I hope you had a good time. Will you
Awesome.
Will you have a last call to action here for potential investors?
Yeah, obviously.
Definitely. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, anyone interested can follow us on strike-protocol.com. You're very welcome to join the community Telegram that we have. On the website, you'll find a direct link to our link tree where we will have each and every single document for you. This includes the extremely large vetting document from Gempad, for example, but also our KYCs, all the companies involved. And yeah, please hop in the community, ask your questions there. We're, open 24/7, moderated on all continents. If there is an answer the moderators can't cover because, the core team is in EU, they will park it for you. We will make sure it's either get answered by us or by the studio. And yeah, come by, have a look. Public alpha will start as soon as the first 5 people from the community have access. That is going to be open further. Rollout will be across PC and then from PC to Android and from Android to Apple. So anyone interested in looking into that would be nice if you're a holder, but if you're an interested gamer who by chance heard of us and is interested from that point, you're very welcome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we definitely want gamers coming in and giving feedback. So if you're really interested in the gaming aspects, I think we'd love to hear from you. Even if you're just interested in the NFTs part from a crypto aspect, we equally would love to hear from you. So come to the community, maybe get alpha access. You never know. Join in.
These two said everything, so I'm just gonna say thank you for this lovely AMA, and yeah, I enjoyed quite a lot.
That's the purpose, having fun and having good discussions.
Yeah, definitely. Also, feel free to contact us and nerd out a bit. I'm always happy to. I never get my fix, you know.
Yeah, we damn sure are gonna do follow-ups on you guys. So if you have big breaking news, make sure to reach out to me, and we'll post it on in the channel. And
Amazing, thank you.
as we go in like 8 to 12 weeks, maybe we should look for a follow.